Something else that you shared that reminded me of an accountability buddy tip is who's holding you accountable for chasing your dreams and living your best life? My name is Annette, and I create safe spaces for plus size travelers to embrace wanderlust without the barriers that often hold us back. This year, I'm not letting anything hold me back. And that's why I'm happy to have Tori as my accountability buddy. As a solopreneur, it can be difficult to self motivate at times, and it feels great to be able to collaborate. Tori, how are you?
I'm doing good and I'm really happy to be here. Happy that we're doing this. And yeah, we were just talking about how us doing this together is literally creating the support structures and the systems that we need. And that's something that I really want to be resting in this year. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy that we're doing this.
So am I. It's something that we've tried before. This isn't our first time being accountability buddies. And actually, let me start where we met. And I think it was 2018. I was bopping around Southeast Asia for a bit. And I think a mutual friend introduced us, but I think we didn't really get to connect until I came to that Ebony Expats event.
So we definitely met very early on when I had been living in Thailand and when you had been into your journey of living abroad, doing your thing, already just, yeah, like living your best life. And I was very early into my expat experience and also bringing people together here in Thailand. So I'll get more into my journey and what that has looked like. But I feel like when I met you, it was just really dope to meet another fellow expat and a fellow community leader, fellow entrepreneur. And because we really connect on the fact that we're out here building community spaces and events and bringing people together and being advocates in different ways, it really felt like a line for us to connect and support each other the ways that we have. But I'm really interested in diving even more of what and how we got started as accountability buddies.
I know that a few years ago, I was having some struggles with Facebook, and I had reached out to you because people were like infiltrating our private Facebook community, and you're a fellow community leader, and you had mentioned Mighty Networks to me. And there were other like resources and tools that we had been sharing and just checking in with each other because above everything, like we're friends. We met, we became friends, we related over lots of different things. But I definitely felt like you were a safe space for me to go to ask for help, to ask for suggestions, to ask for feedback. And I think it kind of just got started off that way. I remember when I was in Thailand, we did a couple interviews for your podcast and different things like that. We did some co working stuff together in Thailand when I was like bouncing around over there. And so I just felt really comfortable getting honest feedback from you and taking critiques from you. And so I'm not sure if I was the one that approached it or if you were, but I was definitely like, hey, like we are doing similar things together and it would be
Yeah.
great if we can empower each other and support each other through that.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to also get into this too, but what I feel feels different about this time is that we have a different structure and we're really, I feel like that's really going to set us up a different way as far as being able to hold each other accountable and ourselves. And I'm really, really appreciating that. Like I'm excited about that. We've already seen it, but yeah,
I
you know.
absolutely agree. And you touched on it a little bit, but we were accountability buddies, I think, in 2023. And that was
Mm,
our first go. And it was great, but we both had to kind of pause things to get some personal stuff handled. And as I mentioned, we're solopreneurs. So it's not like we have these huge teams of people. And when something happens in our personal life, that means that sometimes the brand and the business has to take a backseat for us to kind of focus on what's happening right now today in our everyday life. And so that was part of the reason why we had to not, be accountability buddies last year, but we were still friends and we were still able to connect, chat about work, chat about life. And I knew towards the end of last year, like, let me go ahead and just ask Tori if she has the time and energy and space to come back
Yeah.
and be my accountability buddy, because I saw the difference in the results, because I felt like I was much more effective with my time and with my scheduling and just completing my tasks. I felt much more secure about that when you and I were working together. And so I was ready to get that back.
I really love that because when you say the word secure, which keeps standing out to me, is that like we're literally building out these structures and systems and being accountability buddies so that we can feel more secure and that we can build this foundational security for ourselves.
So am I. And it's so important as like female founders, small business owners in spaces where like everything is very unstable. As you know, as a small business owner, as a solopreneur, nothing's stable. So like having this to come back to and having something grounded, a grounded place where we can connect, where we can build and grow together,
Yeah.
feels really nice and feels like a safe space to land, especially with all the uncertainty that we have to deal with as business owners. Before we get into our goals, I want to break down exactly what we do. I've been in the game for a while. I started out as a plus size fashion blogger, and I have a degree in fashion design and marketing. Fashion is my first love, but eventually I was bitten by the travel bug and started saving up for trips instead of trends. Once I started working remotely for a fashion startup, it allowed me to travel full time. I never saw myself represented in travel marketing or media, but I saw plenty of people that looked like me traveling. Figuring out the activity level and accessibility limitations took a lot of investigation. If my travel needs weren't being met, I knew the same was true for my community. So I launched Fat Girls Traveling in 2017. The online community led me to hosting group trips all over the globe. After years of working with other tour companies, I launched Fat Girls Traveling Tours, a travel company committed to crafting transformative travel experiences for travelers of size. This year, we're heading to Tanzania, Iceland, upstate New York, and our Mexican getaways, along with a few members only trips for our Fat Girls Traveling Network members. I'm all about connecting with my community in a secure, safe space. We have our very own social networking platform, the Fat Girls Traveling Network. Our Instagram page was disabled twice last year, and we saw what happened with the TikTok ban. So this year, our strategy includes less time on Meta and more time on our private network. The Fat Girls Guide blog is flipping the script when it comes to plus size travel and lifestyle. From sex, dating, and decor to travel, health, and motherhood, the Fat Girls Guide is a community where your voice matters. Along with all those things, I manage my personal account from Annette with Love, so you can see I'm an overachiever. And that's exactly why I need an accountability buddy. Where my girl Tori at?
Hey, I'm Tori. I'm from Houston. I moved to Thailand back in 2017. So I've been living here for 8 years. And before I came to Thailand, I had gotten laid off from a corporate job. So my background is in marketing, operations, and strategic planning. And I've been doing that for over 15 years now. And I'm going to talk a bit about how I have come to understand and really just appreciate how my brain works, how I work, how I set things up and do all the things that I do. But I and how I have come to see that overall I'm a connector and I'm someone who builds support structures. When I came to Thailand, I had never moved abroad. I had never traveled abroad. The farthest that I had gone was Canada. And I did have a passport because of the fact that I was managing events and different programs across the country and as far as Canada and globally, but going to events in person in North America. And so when I made this move to Thailand, it was pretty much me just deciding to go outside of the box of what felt like staying in America and going to what I was considering at the time, which was LA or New York. And it became, okay, well, there's nothing really holding me back at this point that's stopping me from moving out of the country, besides the fact that I don't really know much about Southeast Asia. I haven't really seen anyone make this sort of move, and I don't know what to really expect. But I knew that I wanted to make sure that I was set up. And in order to have a visa and be able to live here legally, you have to have a job. So I pretty much did what my brain does normally and just kind of search things and go into research mode. So when I moved to Thailand, I was like, okay, I'm going to need at least 3 Black friends so that I can support myself on this move and connect with my people, understand where to go if I need to learn about hair products or just navigating being an expat. And to this day, we still need that. And we will always need to have community and support structures and systems that allow us to thrive on our journeys, which is what I was inspired by when I saw other people who were other expats out here who were also on their journey. And at the time, in order to have a work permit and a visa, I started as an English teacher. And so I also created an employee resource group for that company, basically straight out the gate, just like, hey, I'm going to create this resource group so that your teachers don't essentially not make the move because they're nervous or don't know anything about, don't have anyone to connect with, right? And because I need this for myself. And so that led me to really being tapped into the local community, both in the black expat community and just amongst expats in general. Because as soon as I got off the plane, I already had events like literally scheduled that day. It's just been really beautiful to go back and recognize and understand how I work and who I am. And it just brings me back to what I continue to do and who I am. And I am an advisor that continues to build support structures and resources so that we can continue to thrive in our journeys, whether that's in business, and I'm supporting business owners with their automations and streamlining their back end operations, or if that's in Ebony Expats, where I'm supporting people with moving abroad, figuring out where they're going to live, what neighborhood makes sense for them. And then let's figure out your numbers and let's figure out the plan for you. And yeah, that is what I do. And I'm currently in a space of trusting the support structures that I have built for myself and really moving into a space of balancing community care and self care.
Thank you for sharing that, Tori. And we've been friends for a lot of years, but I don't even know that I remember that you started as a teacher. I
Yeah.
don't think that I remember that you came to Thailand for that. So just hearing you share your story, I was like, whoa, am I learning something new? You know?
Yeah. For sure. And I do think it's interesting because, and even when I think about the fact that I was a teacher that wanted to teach English, it was because I needed to make sure I was going to have a visa and a work permit and set myself up. And today I have a program where we bring people over who want to teach in Thailand and who need help with placements and who need to figure out, okay, what can I expect and how much money am I really going to make? The salary for teachers can be more for international teachers in certain countries. But what that means is we need to also be thinking about other ways that we're also maybe doing side businesses or building wealth in other ways. And so I'm really just clear on all of the things that I now am able to kind of bring together and hold space for and start to continue to build resources for. Yeah, it's been beautiful to just kind of sit with that.
It's very beautiful. And it just reminds me of how lucky we are to be able to be immigrants in these countries that provide us the security where we can manage our mental health better, where
Mm.
we have flexibility to be able to have a higher standard of living and a higher quality of living. And you sharing your story just reminded me of how lucky we both are and how grateful I am to be in this space. And I love the fact that you're helping so many other Black people figure out where is the best place for them to land. Because as you
Mm.
shared, it's not easy, traveling to a new country, deciding to move, not knowing where to stay, not having any friends. And so this is essential. And we both have done it, multiple
Mhm.
times at this point for myself. And it's all about having a support system, which is why I'm so lucky to have you as my accountability buddy. And to try to transition this into our next topic, I want to get into some of the meat of the conversation, and that is our why. When we started this year, I realized that I needed to be much more strategic I want to be one of those people that squeezes every bit of juice out of life. These are a few reasons why having an accountability buddy is important for me. Some of the things that I've struggled with over the last year was figuring out how to promote my group trips effectively. I got banned multiple times from Instagram, and that really threw me. And people who are still reeling from the TikTok ban can kind of understand my struggle. But not only did I get banned from Instagram, I had also moved my online community from Facebook into our private network. But I didn't promote the private network effectively either. I was inconsistent with my newsletters. And because I was so all over the place, it was really difficult for me to save money and to track my spending over the year. And that's something that I really want to work on this year. It's also important to celebrate the successes, not just to focus on the struggle. And some of the things that I am so proud that happened in 2024 are I became a tour operator. After years of working with other tour companies, I decided to launch Fat Girls Traveling Tours, and it was one of the best decisions I've had. I also worked with a graphic designer, and we came up with a brand new logo. We sponsored some fat positive travel events. I traveled with nearly 40 members of my community. I attended 2 industry events, and I was nominated for Travel Influencer of the Year by Travel Noir. So, out of everything, out of all of the chaos, there are still so many things that I'm proud that I was able to accomplish last year, but with some more strategy, some more focus, and some support from my accountability buddy, I know that this year is going to be even better. Tori, what is your why?
My why is I want to really rest in the freedom and the security that comes from the support structures and the systems that I've built for myself. And when I look back at what my challenges are and why I feel like really sitting with giving myself these structures, having these accountability buddies with you, is I recognize that I had a period of burnout, which led me to being inconsistent with sharing, promoting, being able to show up. Along with that, not having the language or the systems in place to support my community and clients, or just all the things that I have going on in life in general, while also honoring my needs and my own rest cycles and figuring out what that looks like. Overall, because of that, it's similar to what you were just saying, and that it's just, it means that when things start to come up, whether that's in personal, whether that's in business, there's not a balance that's happening. And I really just want to get better into that flow because, like, yeah, we're solopreneurs. I only have so much capacity, and I want to just honor my natural flow and rhythm, which is one of the things that I want to celebrate and one of the things that I do see as my growth. So, some of my growth and celebrations is I do feel like I have started to master who I am, what my cycles are, and just realizing how I work and how I'm designed and letting that be the foundation of what serves me when I just operate as I operate. Um, Resting in the fact that I know a lot about a lot, and that's in business, that's in moving abroad, that's in Thailand and Southeast Asia, that's in coaching people through making big transitions and moves, strategic planning, operations. And I just really want to move out of this space where I've been building and learning and setting up the foundations and moving to a space of trusting it because yeah, like I can now celebrate Tori, which is on this list. Like I've mastered setting up my CRM and getting my operations into place and setting up the back end things that I need to have so that I can operate as a business and so that I can support myself as I'm continuing to show up and share and also honor my capacity. I'm also celebrating the fact that I have really moved into a place where I now, based on the fact that I understand who I am and really was able to sit with like, okay, like this is what you built toward, this is who you are, this is what you have done. I've been able to just position my experience in different ways. So I've done a case study recently on the consulting side of my business and talking about the different type of ways that I've helped companies streamline and really move their operations into a better flow for them. And I've also started to speak more in the expat space and really speaking about the expat experience, what it looks like to be a digital nomad, what it looks like to have different tools to set yourself up for success. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about getting back into that space after burnout, after giving myself space and grace to navigate all of the different changes as well that I've had come up for me personally in my life and all the things. I feel that I am a different person, but at the same time, solid in the foundation of who I am and have always been and on the journey that I've always been on. And so, yeah, I'm excited to just be resting in that and moving forward with that. I'm also celebrating and honoring that I get to welcome expats and groups to Thailand. Over the past few years, we've been welcoming more groups in, more people who are moving abroad, and that really does light me up, really, like, it really does. And so I think I need to really continue to hold more space for that and move out of the being in it and more of that where I'm just like able to serve people and support them.
Something that you said that really resonates with me is finding that balance. And I think it's important to mention that we're accountability buddies, but we're not just focusing on business, we're also focusing on lifestyle changes that we want to have in our life. Like for me, something I want to be better at is my morning routines, journaling, stretching, meditating. And we're checking in on each other with those types of things as well. So I feel like we're mostly going to talk about our business aspects of our lifestyle right now, but in general, this is more of like a holistic accountability thing where we have set goals that encompass our entire lifestyles that we're trying to help each other stay accountable to. And so I just want to really express that like that balance is something that we're both working towards, and just focusing on work is not the way that flows. So we're also trying to create time for joy and hobbies and exploring and learning more about ourselves. Something else that you shared that also resonated with me and reminded me of an accountability buddy tip is find someone who's similar to you but different. So Tori and I are similar in ways that we've explained. We're community leaders, we're solopreneurs, we're immigrants living abroad. But Tori's very different. Her background has much more to do with like corporate and research, where my background has more to do with social media, marketing, fashion. So when we're having conversations, we're both bringing different perspectives to the table. And that's really important when finding someone to be your accountability buddy and finding someone that can give you a fresh perspective on things that you're doing. These are 2025 goals and ways we've held each other accountable. I've shared that one of my greatest learnings from 2024 was to be more strategic, and that's what I need more of in 2025. I'm going to be more strategic. I'm going to do more strategic planning. I am currently working on upgrading my website. I am focusing time, attention, and marketing hours into the Fat Girls Traveling Network. As you can see here, I've also been focusing on my YouTube videos, and my newsletter has been going out a couple times a month. Something that also was really important to me and a new learning for me was to put numbers on things. And so one of my goals for this year is to have 40 to 50 new clients. That will work itself out in a couple different ways. It could be through the network, it could be through my tours, but in the end, I want 50 new people in my community and traveling on trips with me this year. And that is a number that I'll be able to track every month. And I think that that is another way that I'm setting myself up to be a little more strategic. Some other goals that don't have much to do with work are some more joyful movement. I want to meditate daily. I need to journal daily, and I need to work on utilizing some of the time saving systems that I've already created for myself. And the bottom line, I need a better work life balance. I think it's something that we're all striving for, but this year, with my accountability buddy, I think I'm going to make it more real. Some of the things I need to do less of this year include overanalyzing, winging it, decision paralysis, imposter syndrome. We've all been there. People pleasing, that's something I'm really working on just doing away with. Putting myself last is part of that people pleasing, I think. It's always making sure that everyone around me is feeling great and feeling settled. And then what's going on with me? I've been putting myself last, and we're doing that less. We're going to stop working through the weekends. We're going to stop prioritizing social media, and we're going to stop responding to trolls because we don't have time for that. What about you, Tori? What are some of your goals for this year? And what are you going to be focusing on less?
So one of the things that I want to focus on less is stepping out of my comfort zone. And it's really interesting because we're all people who are doing this in different ways in our lives and in our journeys and all the things. But I feel like I'm come to recognize that working on certain type of client work because my corporate background, I'm stuck in this comfort zone where it's like, no, I need to be pulling myself out of some of that. But I also have to hold space for the fact that I've been in this invoice to invoice life. So I'm really just thinking about how can I move out of that. And so that is going to look like for me moving into having more courage around getting out here and sharing and selling, and not just sharing, but like actually selling and inviting people into working with me in these different ways than I ever have. I actually just had a call with someone who was like, okay, so where's the course and the program that I can sign up for right now? And I was like, well, I have the cohort that you can sign up for right now, but I do not have a course that you can come into, right? And it's just really like within me being able to rest myself in all the things like in my support structures and being able to continue to build for myself for the long term, I need to just, yeah, I guess create these different ways that I can support people that may not always look like one on one, may not always look like somebody that's, hey, I want to move abroad. Where can I live at? Very tangible things that we're doing. And so yeah, that's something that I want to do. Get out the comfort zone, start creating yeah, like when I just think about the different tools that I use, I just want to start putting all of those things out more. I want to start maybe putting out spreadsheets and different type of tools that people can actually use. And when I think about the accountability of it all, I do feel like ultimately that will be what I contribute to continue to contribute is like these different support structures that I'm building for the industry, for people that I work with. And that may be tech or something in the future, right? So I'm very clear on that because I do that is literally the work that I do. And so just really starting to integrate that and stepping out of my comfort zone, but allowing myself to kind of have the courage to build these new things. Yeah. And keeping things simple as well, because yes, my brain can handle all these different things. And I'm very, to the point that I'm talking about, but I want to be doing less of the over analyzing because strategizing and analyzing, it really does teeter on a line that can become very risky. And so I just want to move out of that. Less perfectionism as well, because who defines perfectionism anyway? No one has all the answers.
You said courage, and it do take courage, sis. Being a solopreneur takes courage. Asking for help takes courage. Asking someone to be your accountability buddy takes courage. Being open to receiving, critiques and criticism, being open to learning, all of that takes courage. And so, thank you for saying that because that is something that when you're out here looking for an accountability buddy and you're wanting to be accountable to yourself, it's going to take some courage. Another thing that you shared and something that I'm working on are the systems. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited that you are my accountability buddy because you're already out here working on guides and courses and all of those kind of things. My head's not even there yet. But when we have conversations, you're constantly reminding me, like, hey, sis, that could be a good course. Hey, sis, that could be a good thing that you could offer as a service or as something that's a product. And so this also speaks again to having someone as an accountability buddy who works similarly but in a different space because Tori is always giving me different ideas and helping me grow in a different way than what's natural to me.
I really do love that. I love that a lot because I'll speak to what this past week felt like when we had our co-creating hour and and I came to the session like, okay, what am I about to sit here and create, right? And it's like strategic planner sits down to create meets creator that is always in that space, right? So I really just love how we're both able to sit in our strengths.
I love
And
it too, and it feels like black girl magic to the umpteenth degree. You know, like you said, we're reflecting each other's positives onto each other. We're showing each other our strengths. We're reflecting places where we can grow. And that feels so good. And because we've known each other for years and because we're so comfortable with each other, it it feels easy, you know? And that is something that I'm very grateful for. So thank you for always being so open and um, understanding and willing to give feedback and advice because as a small business owner and as a solopreneur, you often don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. You know, like you're making decisions all the time and you can get decision fatigue. You get tired of making all the damn decisions. And sometimes you need some support, you need someone to run things by. And that's another reason that an accountability buddy might be for you. And Tori, you mentioned our co creating hour, and that's something that we recently added because we wanted to be able to, within our time working together, execute something, be able to have completed something by the end of that hour. And so, not only are we having our accountability buddy sessions once a week, we're also having a co creation hour once a week where we both come to the table with one piece of content that we want to create by the end of the session and we press send. And that's been working great. There are so many other resources and activities that we've been doing that we can't wait to share with you. But those are just a few of the goals that we're currently working on and ways that we've held each other accountable so far.
I would love for you to connect and follow me online and follow both of us. And I want you guys to check out a Pinterest video that I just did last week and post it as well on my YouTube. Now, what we would like to do is just invite you guys to continue to connect with us, follow along as we continue to hold each other accountable and continue to share and continue to connect. And I would love for you to also just share what some of your big goals are, what you feel like has in your life been ways that you've built support systems or structures to give yourself space, security, freedom in your life, and feeling more safe to continue to do what you're doing. And yeah, definitely connect with us and share with us. So for me, if you are looking for support moving abroad or any support with Thailand, Southeast Asia travel, connect with us on ebonyexpats.com and at ebonyexpats on all of our social channels, as well as our podcast and YouTube. And if you're looking for any support with getting advisor support, mentorship, coaching, or support with your business, then that'll be on toritalks.co and at Tori Talks on Instagram and all of my socials.
Definitely follow Tori for anything that you need as far as strategic planning, traveling, moving abroad, figuring out visas, all of that kind of stuff. Tori's your girl. I'm super excited that I'm going to be able to focus on the strategy behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like during these conversations about accountability, that's something that I'm going to keep coming back to because one of the biggest learnings that I've had this year is that the numbers do matter and being able to check on the data is really the only way that you can see growth. And I'm not going to be one of those girlies that's like obsessing over the data and always checking the numbers. But previously, I kind of didn't look at that stuff at all. And if it felt good, then I just kept doing it. And that's not the way that I'm going to be moving forward. I'm going to be looking at what's working for my community and strategically putting more time into the things that are going to be more effective. And that is one of the reasons why I'm super excited to be sharing this journey with you and to be exploring this growth between Tori and I. So, if nothing else, I hope you leave this conversation knowing the value of an accountability buddy. We can't wait to see our growth and to show you our progress. So stay tuned for updates and let's embrace accountability together. Thank you so much for joining me,
Thank
Tori.
you. This was so great. I'm glad that we're doing this and looking forward to us continuing to share and connect.